So welcome to WION, and my first question to you is an obvious question. What will be India's focus when it sits at the high table from next year?
Thank you, Siddhant. Thank you very much for having me in your program. We have received tremendous support from cutting across countries and regions for our candidature. However, we have still used the run-up to the elections in a very focused and purposeful manner by reaching out to all the member states of the United Nations and sensitizing them on our priorities. You're aware that the Honorable Minister for External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, he launched our set of priorities for our stint in the Security Council, and we have been able to engage the member states, and there is a greater appreciation of what India plans to bring to the table to the United Nations. And the 5 priorities which we have set for ourselves is under the rubric of norms, NORMS, new orientation for a reformed multilateral system. And the priorities include broadly new opportunities for progress, an effective response to international terrorism, a reformed multilateral system, and also a comprehensive approach to international peace and security. And finally, technology with a human touch. These are the 5 priorities, and this will be the focus for us in the Security Council.
So, we have seen the world going through a tough phase. How will India make sure that the fault lines are reduced when it takes the chair?
Interestingly, India has always worked to bridge fault lines. In fact, right since our participation in the United Nations as a founding member, we have taken up several difficult issues for the first time in the United Nations, and we have been able to bring them as a part of the international discourse and in fact resolve them. I agree that the world has probably changed over the years, and particularly it is not the same what it was in 2011 when we were last in the UN Security Council. But and multilateralism may have been weakened and the fault lines may have widened. But I'm confident that, with our very strong reform agenda, for example, reform multilateralism agenda, which we have, and our tradition and our ability to work with diverse set of partners, I'm confident that we can actually make a difference in bridging these fault lines.
Mm-hmm. Reforming the United Nations Security Council has been the aim of New Delhi. New Delhi wants to be part of a reformed UNSC, and focus has been to make sure that UNSC reflects the new geopolitical realities. So how will India make sure that this aim gets more widened at the United Nations Security Council and at the General Assembly from next year?
The UN Security Council definitely needs to undergo reform. There is no question about that. Under the UN Charter, the UN Security Council still has the primary responsibility for international peace and cooperation. But India, one of its priority is reform of the UN Security Council. And we do want to reform it to make it more representative, to make it more inclusive, and to make sure that it addresses current realities. And we'll work towards that. But our presence in the UN Security Council right now is also coming at a critical juncture, because India will have an opportunity in the COVID and the post-COVID phase to contribute to transforming the post-COVID phase and be participant in the global transformation which will inevitably take place. But we should also be conscious of the fact that not every issue is an issue for peace and security.
Mm-hmm. So my final question to you is, Yoga Day is coming. It is an India-led initiative. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi initiated the entire proposal. So this time, how it will be celebrated, given the fact that COVID crisis is something that does not allow people to meet or perhaps do community events?
Prime Minister has provided the leadership, and it will continue to be an India-led initiative this year also. I can assure you that. But however, 2020 is a very unique year, and with social distancing in place, it will be difficult to do the International Yoga Day within the premises of the United Nations or even on the lawns of the United Nations. But however, what we plan to do in the mission is that we plan to do it in the virtual mode this year, because the International Yoga Day attracts probably the largest gathering of the United Nations, and we want to continue that tradition. So this time we are doing it on the 19th of January at around 3 p.m. and the event will be telecast live on the UN web TV, and it will also be on all our social platforms, Twitter, YouTube, and others. And this year we have also gifted to all the permanent mission a very insightful book on yoga. And so I'm confident that this International Yoga Day will be celebrated with a great deal of gusto and will be well received by the member states and the yoga practitioners.